Well, hello, good people. What's up? What's up, babies? What's up, good people? Mark Holmes here, and as always, I want to thank you all for watching, commenting, subscribing, and being part of the Joe Boo Sports Report. Without you guys, as well as you ladies, you know it does not work. So, the power rankings and things that are out, and in fact, I'll dare say, Philly 500's power rankings. You know what's funny is, what a difference a day makes. I don't think I came out here yesterday and did a video, but I believe I did Saturday. And Saturday I was sitting here and I was in the sun. Check this out. Okay, check this out. It's amazing because over the course of the last couple of weeks, you guys have seen how, the plants have come out. And this is what's cool is I've got ferns and irises and hibiscus that come back automatically. So I ain't got to plant shit, okay? This is like literally self-maintained. But check this out. In the course of 2 days, you see that? Look at that. All that shade has come through and made it nice because it's actually good because it's about 80 degrees today. The fish, they're excited as can be because it's like, finally, can we be done with winter? Because they want to go ahead and eat and grow and maybe even spawn this year. So here's what we got. Philly 500 is running his big fat trap. In fact, Philly 500, shout out to Jacqueline Gnomes, who ended up giving me a tad bit of what Philly was saying. Philly 500 believes that they are the best team in the NFC East, that the Washington football teams are the second best because his stepson, Carson Wentz, is the quarterback, and that the Dallas Cowboys are third in the division. And this is funny because it seems like this is Philly 500 every year. Every year, oh, we're going to be 13-3. We're going to run away with the division. You know, it's Howie time and everything else. But somehow they don't seem to meet the expectations of Philly 500. You know, I'm just saying. Just don't count your chickens before they hatch. I'm going to be humble. But Philly, they've already got it that their defense is going to destroy us. Although I'll say, you missed out on the honey badger, and you didn't exactly get a safety. Your Achilles heel, Eagles, will be your secondary and the question marks that actually face your quarterback. That and A.J. Brown has a tendency to get injured a little bit. Just saying, I'm not wishing injury on anybody, but I'm just saying, I'm not going to go through here and say that the Cowboys are going to win the division, that they're the best team in the division, and we're going to kick everybody's ass. But I will say this. We are still the defending NFC East champions that went 6-0. We did not lose a single contest. And what I find funny about Philly 500 is how he'll go through and say, oh, well, you know, one of those games didn't really count. You know, Philly, I'll give you that last game that you guys didn't try that hard, that you rested your players up so that way they could get their ass spanked and blown out the next week. I can give you that one. If you give me the one that the Washington Commanders, when you faced them and they were on a guy who was on somebody else's practice squad the week before, quarterback, where they had literally 20 people out on COVID. If you want to say that game didn't count, that the Cowboys beat you guys, then you can't count that Washington Commanders game either. How about that one? Okay, so besides Philly 500, who's always full of himself, and the Philadelphia Eagles, Mel Kiper gives the Cowboys a C grade, and of course says that the Cowboys are ass. And that's one of the things that Philly 500 is using. Well, Mel Kiper said that the Cowboys draft was a C. Yeah, well, if you're using that to grade your draft, hate to tell you, Mel Kiper gives the Cowboys every year a C. Every single year, he gives them a C. We got the best player in football in defense last year, and Micah Parsons, and he gave us a C. The year we got Zeke and Dak Prescott, oh, mind you, he said Dak Prescott was going to be a career backup. I don't think he's actually backed up at all. Unless you say that one game where you guys beat us a few years ago when Carson Wentz was there. That may have been the only game that he was a backup in. So to go by what the experts say, I don't know. I don't think anybody knows. Nobody knows. Because, see, Philly, if you guys knew, you wouldn't have gotten Rhaegar in the draft. You wouldn't have gotten Charlie Dakota Whiteside in the draft. You would have done a lot of things if you actually really and truly knew. And so that's what I'm trying to say, that Philly, you might want to stop writing checks that you're behind might not be able to cash. And if your whole thing, again, is listen to Mel Kiper Jr., well, I'm not going to put a whole lot of stock in that. Now, as far as our Cowboys players go, other people other than Mel Kiper will say that the Cowboys actually did pretty good. The one question mark that they have is Tyler Smith. And they say that maybe the Cowboys reached and they should have taken Linderbaum. Well, I understand if you're saying take the best offensive lineman available, and that probably would have been Linderbaum. And maybe you could have improved the center situation. But the problem is it's short-sighted to say let's take care of the center, because now you still have the problem with the guard and you still have the problem with Tyron Smith. As far as Linderbaum goes, Tyler Smith goes, he's very young. He's one of the youngest guys actually in the draft. And people will say, yeah, well, you got rid of Connor Williams, who, had a lot of penalties, and you replaced him with another guy that has a lot of penalties. Yeah, that's true. But as far as a guard, I don't think that Connor Williams, although he wasn't awful, he never really was a guard. He'd probably been better suited being a tackle. And it always felt like Connor Williams, the reason why he was holding on for dear life because he was always out-muscled and carried in the back. Tyler Green, when he got called for holding, more times than not, it was more like he was mauling a guy and the guy was on skates and he was literally holding him up in the air, as he went through. And his shoulders were so broad that a lot of times when he's going against guys, they turn sideways. His arms and his base were always right there because the guy's tiny and he was so big. You won't have so many of those mismatches like that in the pros. In the pros, you're going to be having big guys going against big guys. And looking at him from the standpoint of the way he could pull and fill and get off to the second level, I think he's actually going to be very suited to be a guard. And I will say this much about that is, when I look at Connor Williams, and this is how we're going to really do this, we're going to look at position by position and say, did the Cowboys get better in this position? Did they get worse, or did they stay pat? So let's start with La'el Collins. La'el Collins, and people will say the Cowboys, they lost, a great offensive lineman in La'el Collins. Well, here's the thing about La'el Collins. I don't think La'el Collins, at this point in his career, is as good as Terrence Steele. Now, you may make an argument differently on that one, but I honestly felt like Terrence Steele was at worst our third best offensive lineman. And at some points, I would say he was our second best offensive lineman. After Tyron Smith got hurt and ended up coming back, Tyron Smith was not as good as he was the first half of the season. And I would say Zach Martin, Terrence Steele, and then Tyron Smith. There's so many damn names that are the same. But be that as it may, La'el Collins going, at worst cases, you look at it and say, La'el Collins was your right tackle, and you're replacing him with Terrence Steele. Well, at worst, you say that move right there is break even. If anything, I say having Terrence Steele, a young guy, who's in a contract year basically because he was an undrafted free agent, is going to be playing well because he's playing for that big contract. I think the upside for him is better than Lyle Collins. I think the mistake that the Cowboys actually made was taking and starting Lyle Collins over Terrence Steele going down the stretch. If anything, he might have been better suited making Lyle Collins play guard and have Terrence Steele in it. But be that as it may, I'm going to say that at worst, losing him, you already had the replacement for him. So that's not really a loss. Follow me? Seriously. Because if you ended up having, here's the thing, you have to look at Connor Williams and Lyle Collins basically as the same player. Because both of them would have been playing probably guard. And one of them would have been on the bench. So you don't look at that and say losing Lyle Collins is a loss because you had a guy for him. So we're just looking at the guard position. And if we're looking at the guard position, Tyler Smith versus Connor Williams, excuse me, I'm going to dare say you're going to have a learning curve, excuse me, with a rookie. Something just went down my throat. You're going to have a learning curve with the rookie, but he's not playing center, which is a lot harder, and he's not going to be on the island, of course, being tackled. Coming in as a rookie, as a guard, will probably be an easier transition for him. I think when we look at this position, if we even take the penalties into consideration, it's probably a wash. I don't think we got worse on the offensive line exchanging Tyler Smith for Connor Williams. I just don't. So that's my personal opinion. I think we actually may end up getting a guy who's going to be better. Now, again, back to the penalties. You can't coach aggression. You can't make a guy into a beast that's not a beast inside and heart. You can't coach the size out there either, and he's got the size. The strength you can work on, and he's already got that size at 21. He still hasn't gotten his NFL man body. Connor Williams has done all the growing and building that he's going to do. So you're looking at the peak of Connor Williams. And I look at, especially down the road, that Tyler Smith will be a better move than Connor Williams. At the present time, I'm going to say that move is at worst a wash. That the offensive line, with the exchange of losing Lyle Collins and Connor Williams, didn't lose any more by bringing in Tyler Smith. I just will. And so that's where we'll start with that position. We'll go through and we'll start going through and we'll look at the wide receiver position. We'll look at, of course, losing Randy Gregory and the defensive end possibilities there. And we'll go through, of course, with each of the draft picks and figure out what's what and who's who. And definitely, I'm going to get together with my man DMV so we can go ahead and figure out where the Cowboys draft really fits. Is it as bad as Mel Kiper says, or did the Cowboys actually improve the team? I will say for the long run, the Cowboys improved themselves, because the other part of the equation, when we as fans go through and start talking about the team and wanting to add other players, is we don't look at the pieces that we got last year that will now have opportunities this year to get on the field. The guys like Golston, who's an outside rusher. A guy like, of course, OC, who's going to get a chance to actually start getting into his man body and understanding some more of the nuances of the defense. As well as a Jaron Curse now being part of this defense for a second year and getting, again, some of those other pieces. So it's not just the draft picks that we have right now. It's also those other guys that we had last year. Our Jabril Cox's, and the team is definitely looking and saying, Jabril Cox, we believe in you, because we didn't really go for a linebacker right now. We didn't end up getting that Bobby Wagner right now. We decided you're the guy, and we'll see where our other draft picks will fit in later on. Don't you love that? I love springtime. You hear the birds? You might not hear it because I got the shotgun mic. Seeing the fishies here. Look. It's funny because I was at the pet store because I needed some more fish food. And I see the ones in the store, and they look so tiny. They look huge compared to them. Anyway, I enjoy this time of year. It's before the bugs get out. It's not too hot yet, and everything's so green. Hope you're having a great day, and I'll see you guys soon.